Okay, it's 11 o'clock on the dot. So we're going to go ahead and start with our Pfizer committee meeting. It looks like I have a majority of my members here as well. Liz, do we have everybody that needs to be present on this?
I believe we have everyone, yes.
Okay. So we have no consent items. Councilmember Hancock, approval of the minutes. Do you have any changes, revisions, and do you approve the minutes?
I do not have any changes or revisions, and I approve the minutes.
Okay, I approve them as well. We're going to go with our federal legislative update. Lori will not be present with us, so Liz is going to give us the update.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Lawson. So this is from Lori's office, just so everyone's aware. So Congress is in recess for 2 weeks, and when they return, they'll start working on the reconciliation bill. The House and Senate committees are going to start drafting that when they get back for the budget, and they're aiming to have it done by Memorial Day, so we'll see how that goes. And then in addition, the House and Senate committees are also going to be working on the surface transportation authorization. So internally, we're going to be looking at evaluating our programmatic funding that we receive and how the federal government can improve distribution of those funds.
Is that it?
And that's it.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Councilmember Hancock, do you have any questions, Mayor, on anything that the federal update?
We won't know anything about the funding that we're waiting on until after they come back from recess, especially based on our last visit.
Correct. Are you referring to the Protect Grant funding?
Yes.
So we're still working to schedule that meeting with DOT, and we're waiting them to get back to us with times that they have available. So we'll be having that. We've also been in contact with the administration over at DOT to try and get additional information. And we've also had conversations with our Senate staffers to try and get them to inquire on when we would get the Protect Grant funding as well.
Okay, and I acknowledge that Councilmember Jurinsky is here as well. Liz, before I move on to see if the mayor or Councilmember Jurinsky, what about the funding that we got from BJA? Is that still on hold for the SAVE program? Is that still on hold as well? Okay.
Yes, that is unfortunately still on hold.
Okay. Councilmember Jurinsky, Council and Mayor, do you have any questions or any updates that you want to bring up or things that you want researched?
Not at the federal level.
Okay, Councilmember Jurinsky?
I don't either.
Okay, thank you so much, Liz, for that information. We're going to go to our state legislative update. And it looks like we have Cammie, Totsie, and I don't see Totsie and Peggy. So, hello.
Hi. Peggy, you want to jump in first and I'll follow up to you. Peggy's on mute. I'll go ahead and just kick it off with my update. Our vehicle registration bill passed Senate local transportation local government this week 6-2, which is great. It is headed to appropriations. We expect the fiscal note right now shows about $13,000. We're working with revenue to get that entirely stripped off. And then it should head to the floor after approps. So that's good. Senate Bill 20, which is tenant and landlord law enforcement, we're in a support position. That passed House Judiciary on a vote of 6-3 on Tuesday. Another bill that we're in support of, 1146, the juvie beds, passed House second reading yesterday, so we expect that to be up on thirds, probably on Monday. 1171, which is possession of a weapon by previous offender crimes, passed House second reading yesterday. So that's great news. And then House Bill 1290 was up in the Senate and was placed on the consent calendar out of committee. So that cleared that and should head to the governor's desk.
Oh, I'm sorry. What is 1290 again?
Oh, sorry, transit worker assault and funding for training.
Okay, sure. Okay.
So that's great. And then I know Mayor Kaufman, you asked about the Voting Rights Act. We are in a opposition position, but that did pass House State Affairs Monday on a vote of 9-2. I expect it to keep moving forward. The fiscal note, Mayor, was reduced to $93,000. So it's still, in the grand scheme of things, has a fiscal note on it. I don't know that that's gonna deter it from continuing to make its way through the process.
Madam Chair, if I could.
Yes, Mayor.
So, are there been any amendments on there in terms of, stripping, municipalities out of it? Because I understand we would lose our at-large positions under the way the bill was introduced.
You're correct, and there have not been amendments concerning municipalities. We continue to work closely with CML on trying to get that fixed or amended. I'm not sure the probability of that at this point, but we're continuing to work on that.
And then if I understand it puts all of our elections on the general election ballot.
Yes, that's my
Okay.
understanding as it stands now.
Okay.
Mayor, I'm happy to make sure Liz has the amendments and she can certainly distribute those to Pfizer.
Okay,
That would
thank
be
you.
great to do that for us, so we can just keep track of
Absolutely.
what amendments are happening with this
Sure.
particular
Yes.
bill. So,
Sure,
yeah.
there's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts. And I think Peggy will touch on it. We've got about less than 3 weeks left in session. So we're
Yeah.
staying on top of everything and bills are starting to move. So we'll see, but happy to provide that to Liz and happy to answer any questions.
Is there any questions on Cammie's summary?
Oh,
Madam
Okay.
Chair.
Okay, wait a minute,
Madam
wait a
Chair.
minute, wait. Okay, let's start with the committee members first. Councilmember Hancock.
Yes, I'm concerned. What is the appetite since the legislature is being very judicious about fiscal notes on this bill? Will it impact it in a negative way since this is a pretty large note? I mean, if they're balking about 13,000 on the
Right.
license plate bill, this is a big bite. So what do you think the appetite is?
Councilmember Hancock, I'm happy to dig more into it. It's got pretty strong sponsorship behind it. It was the first bill introduced. There may have been some sidebar conversations, but I'm happy to dig into it and circle back with Liz and she can fill you in.
Because to me, it seems like, if I can follow up, Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
it seems like it's a direct assault on home rule and our municipality, which to me, George, if you could chime in, would it trigger a lawsuit from us so that we could stop this from going forward?
I mean, the answer could happen. That could happen. I mean, that's obviously a discussion I would need to have with Pete and excuse me, and also a discussion with CML if there's an appetite by other jurisdictions to pursue it. But yes, that's a impact to our local governing. I mean, having at-large positions is something that the city has done as long as I've known growing up in this city. So I mean, that's a big challenge to what we do as a government. So yeah, it could proceed that way. So.
Well, George,
And
just
we-
before I get, just a minute, Cammie, before I get to that, could you convey this to Pete and just get his
I will.
analysis on that, of course?
I will.
And then that would be good just for us in general, so
Okay.
for council as well. Go ahead, Cammie, before
And what is
Councilmember
the bill number? Sorry, Councilmember Lawson.
Oh, it's
No
Senate
problem. It's Senate Bill 1.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Cammie, before I get to Councilmember Jurinsky.
I was just going to say that we've worked closely with CML on that messaging of the home rule issue.
Okay, Councilmember Jurinsky.
I don't have
Councilmember-
anything.
Oh, I thought you wanted to comment on that. Okay, Mayor Kaufman, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. On Senate Bill 1, first of all, Liz Rogers was on the phone call I had with the governor, and it was one of our regularly scheduled calls. And so, I did talk to the governor about it, and his position was that he thought it was good government because it consolidated elections into one. What I told him that if you look at RTD, which is down on the general election ballot, the drop off is just incredible by the time you get down there. So his argument about uh, increasing voter participation just doesn't hold. But also, Yemi Mobilati, the mayor of Colorado Springs, was on the call too, and he said that if it passes and it looks like a well and be signed by the governor, that they will definitely lead litigation against it. So my guess is we would follow that. And Liz, do you want to comment any more on that?
Nope. I think you've covered it. Obviously I can't speak to what other jurisdictions may or may not do. But Pete and I have been in contact about lawsuits or potential lawsuits from legislation. So I'll be sure to convey the committee's sentiments to him.
Okay, so my other question, House Bill
Go ahead, Mayor.
1147.
Yes.
Yeah, could you tell us about where that is?
Let me pull that up.
That's the truth in sentencing thing that would make us either conform to the state criminal code by reducing our municipal sentences to whatever the state code says.
It is passed both chambers, and we're expecting it to be sent to the governor. I know there are several municipalities, and municipal organizations that are asking for vetoes on that bill. Several have already sent in letters. Certainly the governor has expressed some concern with it. So I think there is a strong hope that there might be a veto on that one.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, Liz, I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Cammie, thank you. So we're gonna go to, did you have something else to comment on? Okay, let's go to Peggy now. Peggy?
Yes. Good morning. Nice to see you all. We have about 2.5 weeks left of session. So, kind of starting to wrap some of the bills up. We do still have some big bills left out that we are watching for Aurora, but several of the big ones are starting to move on. One that we have been paying attention to the last couple years, construction defects. As you recall, going into this session, there were 3 construction defects bill. We were hopeful and supportive that House Bill 1272, which is Representative Byrd's legislation, would move forward. In fact, that is the case. That bill passed the Senate last week or this week, 31-4. So has gotten a lot of support in both chambers. It did have amendments in the Senate, so it'll have to go back to the House for concurrence. And then we'll head to the governor, and we expect the governor to support that bill as well. I think it's the bill, from Representative Byrd's perspective. She really tried to come at it from a different approach than we've seen the last couple years. She wanted some of the nonprofits and organizations that work on affordable housing to really be the face of the legislation, as opposed to maybe the developers that had been the face in previous years. So that was really her approach to the bill. It was kind of an example of legislation that there was something in there for everybody to love, and pieces in there that not every organization did care for. So it seems to have hopefully struck the right balance now in terms of how it will be impactful and provide more affordable housing. We will see. But that was a really good one to move forward. And then just generally, a couple other issues. The budget is wrapping up. The Joint Budget Committee is in conference committee wrapping up legislation. I expect we'll have a final vote on the budget next week, and the 61 orbital bills, they were able to fill in that $1.2 billion hole. But it's going to continue to be a problem moving forward. We saw some TABOR reform legislation that was introduced, continued discussion about enterprises and fees. So the state budget will continue to be a problem in upcoming years, and how to fund the many programs that have started. And then finally, a couple bills that I think we're still waiting on. There's potentially another energy bill that would be introduced, and the big AI bill that Senator Rodriguez is bringing. And I think Tatsi was saying we might see a couple more healthcare bills come also. So couple of big bills we're still expecting in the last 18 days or so, but hoping we'll get some of these other things wrapped up this week.
Just Peggy, and then I'll let others speak. It's very interesting to me. I heard a news story this morning that the state budget was $1.2 billion in the hole.
Yeah.
Yet and still, they're going to take $4 million out of that budget to go to the governor to fight the administration on issues. What I'm saying is that this is a news story that I heard from one of the representatives, Republican representatives, that is serving, that you're using this taxpayer dollars. We're in this deficit. I know that they cured some of it, but then they're going to take $4 million out to give it to the governor, which it really should go to the AG's office. I mean, it's just very frustrating for me. I'm not looking at this from the Pfizer position, but just looking at it from a citizen of Colorado. When we have this deficit, but you're going to take $4 million out of that budget to do that kind of lawsuit things. That's going to be the thing with the governor. So I'm just making a comment. So it just, you're taking out of the budget. We were in this deficit. I know some of it's been cured, but then you're still going to take money out to do that instead of working on things that our state needs. So that's just an opinion. So my own opinion. So, is there any questions from Councilmember Hancock and Councilmember Jurinsky and the mayor? Let's start with Councilmember Hancock.
Well, to your point, Councilmember Lawson, I would like to chime in on this too, because filling this hole, as you indicated, does not really cure the problem. It's just we're kicking the can down the road. It's not solving anything. And it's a colossal waste of resources for us to take $4 million to fight somebody's personal, I want to go to the windmills like Don Quixote kind of thing. I know I talk in metaphors. Sorry. Not sorry. But it's just that we're supposed to be good stewards of the state's resources, as we are, as council members, good stewards of the city's resources. To me, this is a colossal waste, and it should not be done. And there should be some kind of way that we can hold people accountable for this kind of thing. It doesn't really matter what side of the aisle you are. Waste is waste, and we shouldn't be engaged in it at all.
And again, I don't know if and Councilmember Hancock, I don't know if this is something that has to go through the legislature to approve it. I'm just saying this is something that I saw on a news story that it was brought up, and I'm just sitting here like, I'm not saying that the budget is being cured. I said that they found some ways to solve the issue right now, but there's still, like you said, issues going on in the future. So, and as Peggy said. So anyway, Councilmember Jurinsky, do you have any questions, and Councilmember Hancock, did you have any questions for Peggy on her update?
No.
Okay.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Jurinsky, and then I'll go to the mayor.
I don't have any questions, just similar opinions is all.
Okay, Mayor Kaufman, sorry. I was about to say Mayor Hancock.
Mayor Hancock, she's taking my place already. Oh my God. I sensed there was a problem there.
Go ahead, Mayor. Do you have any comments or questions?
She's just that kind of person. Well, listen, well, so the 4 million appropriation actually goes to the Attorney General's office, but the same arguments. I mean, that they're, they've got this big deficit and they're, making political grandstanding things to fight the administration. And but very disappointing. I mean, this session I mean, I think we're going to have to litigate on Senate. I think the governor's going to sign Senate Bill 1. We'll have to litigate on that, and hopefully join with CML and whoever else. And then I think on 1147, I think the governor will veto it, given my conversations with him. However, I think that it will come back, and in future years, and particularly with a new governor. My guess is to appeal to the base of the party. I think somebody will have to say, yeah, I'll strip Aurora of their mandatory minimum sentences that are above, in excess of that which the state does. And so we may have to litigate that as well. And so I think when we look forward as a committee, or you look forward as a committee, since I'm not on it, that I think it's so important to preserve home rule on everything, whether you agree with it or not, because we just can't let precedents be established that take away our authority.
Thank you, Mayor. George, did you have a comment?
Yes, thank you, Councilmember Lawson. I've been talking to Pete right now, and Pete just told me that Colorado Springs did reach out to us. We will pursue litigation if that passes. So
Okay.
wanted to mention that to all of you. So,
okay, thank you, George, for that update as well. That real-time update. So I appreciate that. So thank you, Peggy. Do you have any more comments? And wasn't trying to put you on the spot with that. It's just kind of a news update that I heard today. I'm not sure how the process goes, but it was just brought up. Tatsi, go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to let you all know that the Cora bill, Senate Bill 77, was vetoed yesterday. And in his veto letter, Polis said that it would put government employees in the perilous position of figuring out whether a requester is a member of the media or making a request for financial gain. And that puts too much power in the hands of the records custodians. He also said that the bill would create 3 different classes of open record requests: those made by news organizations, those made for financial gain, and any other request, all with different deadlines. And he said that he is he's in favor of more openness and transparency, not less. So that happened this week as well. Thank you.
And then Tatsi, that is one topic that always comes back year after year after year is Cora. So we're expecting that Cora bills to always come up every year at the legislature. Is that an appropriate assumption?
I think so.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Do you have any more to update?
That's
Hassan?
it for now.
Okay. Is there any questions for Tatsi on that bill? I don't hear none. Okay, Liz, we're going to go back to you. And I think we got the updates from our lobbying team. Do you have anything else to add? We do not have any bills from the state or the federal to take positions on, but did you want to add to the updates and what moving forward?
Oh, no, thank you, Councilmember Lawson. No, I think our lobbyists are doing a very great job down at the Capitol. It's always a pleasure working with them, and hopefully we'll see some great successes that come out of our work at the session per the direction of this committee.
Okay, thank you so much, Liz. So with that being said, we have our water update, and we're going to be talking about Senate Bill 25-280, the data center development and grid modernization. So we have you, Kathy. Did someone have their hand up? Who had their hand up? Okay, go ahead, Kathy.
I was trying to get rid of it.
Oh, okay. Okay, go ahead, Kathy. I'm sorry.
All right, Senate Bill 25-280, the Colorado Data Center Development and Incentive Program Act. And so this bill would create a new data center development incentive program in the state's Office of Economic Development, and it will allow tax relief to data center operators that meet certain criteria. So we all know data centers require both energy and water, and much of the tax relief criteria is focused on energy. There are requirements to have an agreement with the electrical provider to ensure that there is sufficient and reliable energy available and that it will not impact existing electrical ratepayers. However, there is not a similar requirement for water providers and only a loose requirement to implement water stewardship measures, and those don't have quantifiable requirements. So they just have to do water recycling or a water conservation measure, but it's not, that's about as detailed as it gets. Aurora Water's recommended amendments would add language that a water management plan and the water management strategies are approved by the water system providers, that those water system providers are part of the certification application process and can acknowledge those things. The bill had its first hearing on Wednesday, the 16th, and it was heavily amended. There is a pre-amended version available on the General Assembly website, which was not available, unfortunately, before the FSIR packet needed to be sent out. The pre-amended version is a strike below with completely new language from the introduced version. For water issues, the amended version actually got worse. It removed language from the introduced version that would have required a data center operator's application to have an infrastructure assessment that included a water resource availability and a water resource management plan. This language is completely removed. The loose requirement for water stewardship strategies remains, but there is no direct requirement for input or approval from water providers. The amended version did add in a requirement to consult with state DNR regarding wildlife areas, wildfire and urban interface, and water. But that simple statement, that does not help individual water providers nor address water rights availability. So in the FSIR packet memo, we identified 3 locations that we were recommending for amendment. And substantively, this remains the same for Senate Bill 280's current amended version. We would be requesting amendments to add the water resource availability and water resource management plan back in, along with water system provider approvals for both the water resource management plan and for those identified water stewardship strategies. So we believe these amendments are good policy for Aurora, the state of Colorado, and for state consideration of any new large water use within our watersheds. It is important to identify the water resources, the water availability, and the water stewardship measures to have sustainable water resources for all water users that depend upon those shared watersheds. Data centers could stress water resources if water providers are not connected to the data center operator during their planning and certification process. And I'll also add in that data centers may also require wastewater discharge permits, and that's just a whole nother reason to have water system providers directly acknowledged and involved in a data center operator's planning and certification. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Okay, so let me ask a question before I let the committee and then anyone else who wants to chime in on this, and before we take the discuss the position. So I was reading this bill. I didn't go inside the bill like the actual bill. I was just reading the fiscal note because the fiscal note kind of gives you the summary and then kind of just reading the summary. So basically, I thought that you're saying that the reason the water, I guess the water recommendation to put water into this modernization was not inputted. And this is why the water department, because basically it's to create 2 different programs for the development and electric grid modernization in the Office of Economic Development and Trade. So I'm just trying to understand the nexus here. You're stating, is this something that's being considered in the bill? Because I'm looking at the summary, it doesn't mention water at all, which I know water is part of data centers. But is that what the water department is trying to do here?
We are not trying to take a position on the tax incentives at all.
Okay.
It's just a very narrow piece. Data centers can be a significant.
Okay, I know that, Kathy. I know you're not trying to do that, but what I'm trying to figure out is in this bill, and I haven't looked at the bill, where is that part of a grid modernization? Just kind of program based on this, is that water needs to kind of be included in this as part of the application process. Is that?
I think I understand your question. As far as the grid modernization process, now water is used heavily too in energy, but not trying to take a policy position on the energy end of this bill.
Okay, let me try to make this a little bit more clear, because I don't know if we're connecting here. What I'm trying to understand is, what is the true nexus of this bill of water versus this bill, what I'm reading? Are you said basically you want to put water resource management into the programs. Basically, the bill is developing two tax programs. That's what that's the basis of this bill. So
Right.
I'm just trying to understand, where does this amendment that you want us to consider to put water into this, where does that fit in the basic analysis of this bill, the basic, what it's supposed to do?
Okay, as part of the water or the data center operator's application
Okay,
to get this tax relief, to be eligible for it, they have to meet certain criteria.
okay,
And there was a few sentences in the introduced version of the bill that said, yes, as part of your infrastructure assessment, you need to identify the water availability and the water resources that are going to be used. Now with
Okay.
the amended version, that has completely been removed. So
Got
we
it.
would ask that criteria to be put back in, because we feel it's very important to identify the water resources that would be used.
Okay,
And then as well as have that water provider that you're assuming that's going to have a sustainable and reliable source for your data center, have them be involved and have them provide a letter, acknowledgement, some sort of approval that what you've identified for your water stewardship measures and your water management plan is actually based in reality. So
Okay.
that's what we're asking for. And so very narrow, not trying to weigh in on the tax piece,
Okay.
not trying to weigh in on the energy piece.
Okay, sorry, I'm not a expert on water, but looking at the bill, my interpretation was a little different, but now I do understand. Is there any other questions from the committee? Councilmembers Hancock, Councilmember Jurinsky, and do you support the city's position of amend on this bill? And Mayor, do you have any questions as well?
No questions, I support.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay, Councilmember Hancock, do you support the,
No questions.
do you have any questions? Do you have questions, Councilmember Hancock? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
No, I'm sorry. No, I don't have any questions.
And do you support this position of amend? Okay,
Support the
okay.
position to amend.
Okay, Mayor, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, so, is if there's no, if we don't take advantage of the state incentive, then are we allowed, then is it sort of the status quo where we're allowed to impose our own water restrictions or deny a project because of water restrictions?
I believe that we can, and the Aurora is in a good position. We do have and I'm looking at my other screen right now, we do have a large water users requirement that's in our standards and specifications and fees already. And the purpose of that is to ensure that we've got criteria, which is existing, it's in place for evaluating commercial and industrial flow rates to ensure that we've got a sustainable water supply and it's not impacting our existing water users. So we have that, but across the state, others may not. And so this is more of a concern about the detrimental effect that it might have in our watersheds and on the water resources themselves, since this could be a very intensive water user. And so if you've got a new data center in our watersheds, it just creates that burden on that water system.
Okay. Madam Chairman, just one follow-up.
Yes, go ahead, Mayor.
That is the scope of our lobbying contract also involve water policy?
The water department has our own state lobbying contract with Colorado Advocates. And so we try to very narrowly just cover the water issues with that particular contract.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And they're obviously working this bill to try to get the amendments on.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Kathy, sorry to complicate things. Sometimes I look a little bit deep into the bills, but thank you. You made it very clear. So I appreciate that for myself. And I also support the amend position as well. So do you have any other updates for us before we move forward?
If FSIR does not meet again until May 16th, I just want to give you a heads up that I may have an email approval for a federal water cybersecurity threat preparedness bill. So I'm just doing my final checks to make sure that we're going to ask for a support position. And so that might come to you by email. But so that's it.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. Is there any miscellaneous matters for consideration from the committee members or anyone who is on here? Councilmember Hancock, Councilmember Jurinsky.
I have none at this time. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Mayor, did you have anything? I'm giving you.
Oh, just one question. I think that, Mayor Hancock, Councilmember Hancock, you could probably answer this, but your bill is passed the House and the Senate, right? Or it's sitting in a House Appropriations.
Appropriations, yes.
It's an
Okay.
appropriations, yes.
Is that it, Mayor?
That's it.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
with that being, go ahead,
Oh,
Peggy.
sorry, I was just gonna clarify. We expect the appropriation to be removed because of the amendments we put on that bill 1112. So we're hopeful, once we get that new fiscal note, the appropriations chair told us she'd move the bill. So
Okay,
just a timing issue.
great.
So
Okay.
because it should be 0, right?
Correct,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay, before we close out, is there anyone else, even beyond the committee members, that would like to say something or bring up a topic before we close out and confirm our next meeting, which is May 16th at 11 a.m. It will be in person. Is there any other comments? Okay, I don't hear anything. Everyone, thank you for the great discussion today, and thank you for our lobbying team for all you do, and to my colleagues and to you as well, Mayor, for participating in the Pfizer committee. I look forward to everyone have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you in a couple weeks. Thank everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Have a good
Bye.
day.
Thank you. Have a
Bye.
good weekend.